Shannon, should Mike McCarthy have gone for it there?
Well, I don't have a problem with it because the analytics, everybody loves the analytics. My partner loves analytics. And when somebody is aggressive, Jerry Jones, his owner, they love going for it on fourth down. And he says he likes the aggressiveness of it. I don't think analytics takes into account the tempo of the game at that particular time. Yeah, you can plug it in and say if you go for it on fourth down in this situation, you have a greater chance to win. But as Mike McCarthy was saying, he said, look, given the way the game was flowing, I felt like on second down that we were going to go for it on fourth down because the game had started to just kind of slip away from us. The problem is with the Cowboys, and this is what they need to address. And I tried to explain to you when they got the big D lineman from Oakland. I say, Skip, teams at this point in time, they're not giving away their good players. You see Carolina wouldn't give away any of their defensive players. They're not going to the playoffs, but they say we got a nucleus. We got something we can build on. For your guy to get, y'all are worse off. 29th in rush defense. Aaron Rodgers, I think, if I'm not mistaken, threw the ball like 6 or 7 times in the first half. Skip, it wasn't that play. Yeah, we can look at it and say, well, they went for it on fourth down in overtime, and that lost them the game. But that didn't lose them the game. You have one of the top defenses in all of football, and you had a 14-point lead. That's got to stand. You've got to make that stand. And the reason why I picked the Cowboys, I was like, there's no way Green Bay is going to stick with the run because that's the only way, because you can't get your quarterback hit if you're running the football. They ran the football. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had 18 rushes in the first half and six pass attempts or 7 pass attempts, and they followed it up again, basically the same formula in the second half. And Aaron Jones and Dillon did a great job of running the football, but Skip, penalties and rush defense is killing you. Dak is horrible on third downs. He was 4 of 12 yesterday on third and fourth downs, 2 interceptions. And since 2011, he has the second worst QBR. He's 40 to 43%. Skip, you can't win like that.
Since 2011, he has the second worst QBR.
On third and fourth down.
Thank you.
Guess who's worse? Yeah. Tebow. So with that being said, Skip, it wasn't that play. I mean, we always go back into a game, and we try to look at one particular play and says that lost us the game. But, Skip, with your defense, you had a 14-point lead. Just last week, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers offense scored 9 points. They gonna get 31 on you guys? You told me y'all was so much better. Micah and the Marauders. We're only gonna go as far as Michael and the Marauders carry us.
True.
Okay. Well, Micah and the Marauders carried you to an L yesterday, but it wasn't that play. I wouldn't have gone for it, Skip. I'm a little bit more judicious. Seemingly, I guess I lack courage going for it on fourth down, but I'm not real big into analytics. I'm looking at the flow and the feel of the game. I'm a human being. I'm standing on the sideline. I see how my offense is playing. I see how my defense is playing. How good are my special teams? And that's what I'm going to factor in whether or not I go for it on fourth down. Not somebody that's never played the game, that's punching in numbers, says, well, if you go for it on here, you got a 52% chance of winning. And if you don't convert it, you got a 43% chance. I don't believe in all that bull jive. But, hey, more power to him. But that play wasn't the play that cost him the game.
Are you finished?
Yep.
It is my turn to unleash on what I saw yesterday at Lambeau. I actually, if you remember, first guessed this. I said it was going to be much higher scoring than you thought, and I said it was going to come down to a late field goal, and that my guy would make the late field goal, Brett Maher. No more Brett the Fred. He's been very good this year, and he's got a thunder foot on his leg. I said it would come down to 31-28 Dallas, and I guess I had dyslexia because I don't know what I was thinking, because you cannot trust, A, my coach, and B, my quarterback with big games on the line. I told you, I ramrodded home this point to you on Friday. This game will be all about, in the end, Dak Prescott. It will be his game to win or lose, and was it ever? I told you Aaron Rodgers is not dead yet. He's got way too many weapons left. Just because he lost Romeo, it does Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? I don't care. In the end, he still had Lazard, and he still had Tunyon, who we actually did a good job on. He only caught 1 ball for 8 yards.
Right.
And I told you Christian Watson can flat fly. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall. He ran 4.3. He just couldn't hang on to the football.
Right.
And he dropped the very first 2 throws that Aaron threw him yesterday. But after that, he had a coming out party, much to my chagrin. And in the end, he's actually counting to the crowd. 1, 2, 3. I caught 3 touchdowns, right?
The biggest thing Aaron did yesterday, Skip, he didn't jump in. when he dropped those two passes early, and
he smirked at him. He rolled his eyes at him, but he
couldn't see it, though, Skip. He couldn't see from way back there.
All right. Okay, you were right. In the end, I needed my quarterback to come up big, and I'm going to throw you one big picture point about my quarterback. The bar got set much higher for Dak Prescott because of what Cooper Rush did without Dak Prescott in saving the Cowboys season. When you saw what Cooper Rush was able to do late against Cincinnati, what he was able to do at the Giants when they were rolling, and they're still rolling, and they're about to come rolling into our town on Thanksgiving for a big back-to-backer, as we got to go to Minnesota and then Giants on Thanksgiving. If you look at Dak's big picture career, the reason he scares the literal hell out of me is because in these biggest games, he does not come up big very often. If you look hard at what the Cowboys have done over the last 3-4 years, look back. Show me games, big games, tough games, high degree of difficulty games where Dak came up big and won the game and lived up to his contract when he took Jerry to the cleaners in the bank. Show me. All I can give you is last year at New England, they walked it off, and he hit CD with a walk-off touchdown pass in overtime and then pulled his calf, of course, and was never quite the same the rest of the way. Other than that, you have to hark all the way back to the one playoff game he's won in his life, in his NFL career, which was way back in 2018 when they traded for Amari, and all of a sudden Dak took off, and they actually beat Russell Wilson in the Seahawks. Maybe it doesn't look so good now, given what's happened to Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Right. But that's those two games. If you want to talk about coming up big, I'll give you at New England and against Russell Wilson in a playoff game. Other than that, I dare you to show me another game where you say, well, that was good, or that was good, or that was good. I can show you a whole lot of that was good with Cooper Rush, which is why yesterday I missed Cooper Rush. Aaron Rodgers was teetering. They had lost 5 in a row. He had thrown 3 interceptions, obviously, at Detroit. And yet I told you all week long, he's still Aaron bleepin' Rodgers. He has played better against Dallas than he has against every other team. You show me one, I'll show you that he's played better against Dallas. He's now 8-2 against the Cowboys, including 2-0 in the playoffs. And he hasn't been very good in the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers, because he's 11-10 and only 7-9 since that long ago run to the Super Bowl.
Although the Bears might disagree with you, but I get your point.
No, but he has destroyed Dallas, and he has late game Dallas, and he has clutched up against Dallas again and again and again. There's something about him. He loves to beat the Dallas Cowboys. He loves to stick it to America's team. And I called him, he is my Dracula because he just sucks the life out of my team. Every time you think he's dead, every time you have a chance to drive stake through heart, you better, or he'll come back and get you. And we had a chance. They were teetering in the first half, and we get the turnover early on where Aaron got strip sacked.
Now, there's a disconnect somewhere. Either he's looking and saying the defender is in my window and let me go behind him, but if Dak is throwing that ball in anticipation, Skip, you can't go behind the guy because he's going to release the guy before you break. You got to go in front of him.
Okay, so you have a chance after a strip sack caused by DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yes.
You have a chance to just drive stake through heart of both Aaron and the Packers because they're teetering. They don't think they're not sure who they are. And you let them off the hook. And all of a sudden I look up and it's 14-14 at halftime. Now you got a problem. So all of a sudden, here we go again, and we rise and shine. And Dak had a great stretch in the third quarter, and he hit CD a couple times with big throws.
Yes.
Guess what happens in the fourth quarter and overtime? Shall we? Dak Prescott goes 6 out of 14 for 58 total yards with no touchdowns and no interceptions, while Aaron suddenly comes way back to life. He goes 7 of 9 for 102 yards in the fourth quarter and overtime, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. So if you look at what Dallas did in the fourth quarter and overtime, they are able to manage only 102 yards, while Green Bay has 187 yards. Right. Some on the defense, some on the offense. I needed Dak to rise up and stand off Aaron Rodgers. I needed him to match Aaron throw for throw. Dak disappeared in the fourth quarter and overtime.
You say you're a defensive-based football team.
Okay.
That gave you a 14-point lead.
But I told you in this game against that guy, because he haunts us the way nobody's ever haunted us, in the end, it's going to come down to your quarterback having the ball. He had it 3 times in the fourth quarter. Maybe the last one didn't matter that much because it was just 16 seconds left, but I was hoping for one big throw and one big miracle because they had 3 timeouts left.
Right.
But you did have it twice, and you need to cash twice. You need to go get 3 points, maybe 7 points. You need to match what Aaron is doing to your defense by then, because I say he got so hot that no defense would have stopped him at Lambeau under those circumstances.
Well, Skip, but when you look at it, the question that I have is that when they fell behind, I was like, well, now you got to throw it. Even when they fell behind by double digits, they stayed committed to running the football. Aaron Jones was spectacular yesterday.
He's the other Cowboy
spectacular.
He grew up, spent half his childhood because they were military kids, but he spent it in El Paso. He will tell you, I became a huge Cowboy fan in El Paso. He will tell you that he loves to stick it to his Dallas Cowboys. He rises and he shines, and he's shown again. And they flipped the script because they ran the ball 39 times and they threw it only 20 times.
Yes.
And if you want a weird anomaly of a statistic here, would you believe that my team had the ball 79 plays to only 61 for Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
79-61. Look at the time of possession. It's flipped. Actually, Green Bay won time of possession 36 to 31 minutes. How can you do that when you run 18 fewer plays? It's because they committed to running the football.
Right.
And if you run of those plays 39 runs, clock runs,
Correct.
clock runs, and you won the clock.
And they wanted to keep that offense off the field, Skip. A lot of their best players, you feel Campbell is out, the middle linebacker was all-pro. Rashawn Gary out. Stokes out. So now...
Thank you. That's why I said this has to be a Dak game, because the decimation in Green Bay is on the defensive side, not on the offensive side. They have plenty of weapons, including Sammy Watkins and Toure. They got plenty of weapons for Aaron. He's a back-to-back MVP. Against Dallas, he's going to be Aaron Bleepin again, and he was. So here we go. Dak needed to take advantage of a decimated Green Bay defense, and he couldn't in the fourth quarter.
But they did a good job of playing keep away, like you said, 39 rushes.
Okay.
With 39 runs, Skip, is going to give you keep the ball in your possession a lot more than throwing the ball. Okay. I don't know, Skip. Look at you guys. You ran it 31 for 159. That's 5.1 a carry. But you got 15, 16 more pass attempts than rush attempts. What the question is, why aren't you running the football like Green Bay was running the football?
Okay, it's a very good question, because we do have the ball in the fourth quarter 2 big times, and you need to score some points. It's just wrong. And as soon as he missed that play, I said, we are cooked. And yet, what did we do in overtime, Mr. Sharpe? We won the toss. What almost always happens if you win the toss?
Well, I mean, they changed the rules.
Okay. But what usually happens anyway?
I guess if you're Mahomes, you win the you win the game.
Right. What happened last Thanksgiving at home? Another travesty, right? We won the toss against the L.A. Raiders, and we lost in overtime because Dak immediately could not score, missing Noah Brown on a 3rd down pass. Remember?
Yeah.
And then here came Derek Carr, who's a disaster now, but he wasn't that day on Thanksgiving, right? Okay, so we do get the ball to start the overtime, and now we got Mike McCarthy coming to the forefront. So Pollard goes for 7, then Dak did hit CD for 15, and then Pollard goes for 7, but Jalen, what's his name? What's the receiver?
Tolbert.
Tolbert.
He lines up offside.
I don't even know why he was in the game. Somebody needed a rest or something, and he lines up like 2 yards offside, and he's looking at the ref like, am I okay? No, flag. Okay, so, and then Connor McGovern gets a holding call that negates a Malik Davis run of 16 yards, and we're going up and back. And McCarthy's saying, we're dominating overtime. After the game, he said, we controlled the game in overtime. No, you kept going backwards. Why is that? Well, you had 9 more penalties for, what was it, like 87 yards, 83 yards? I call them Mike McPenalty. They always lead the league in penalties. Now they're top 5 in penalties. They're on the way to leading the league again in penalties because they're an undisciplined, unmotivated football team.
Yeah,
thanks
you
to that guy.
or coaching this game.
Okay, thank you very much. What did we see from Mike McCarthy in his triumphant return to Green Bay? It actually went to his head. he actually decided.
He was basking in it.
He thought he was Vince Lombardi, gloriously returning to the scene of all of his great escapades. Okay, so he invited 40 of his friends and relatives to the game. And would you believe that our man Jarrett Bell reported in today's USA Today that sometime before the game, and he got there like 5 hours before, that he and Aaron Rodgers actually met, I'm assuming somewhere in the stadium, and sat down and had a heart-to-heart conversation before the game. In my career, in your long career of playing this game, I have never, ever heard of a visiting head coach sitting down with a player on the home team to have a heart-to-heart before the game.
Right.
Are you kidding
Right.
me? It's gone to his head. Like, remember when? Do you remember us? And now he's got to bury the hatchet with Aaron Rodgers. He wanted to bury the hatchet in Aaron's head when he was still there, right?
Skip, but here's the thing. Did you know this was the first time in Cowboys?
Okay, well, you're not even...
But Skip, no.
Have you ever heard of that before?
I've never heard of this, and it was reported that the breakup, it had really gotten contentious between Aaron and Mike McCarthy.
Okay.
He was not happy with the way Mike was doing things on Saturday at walkthrough. He was entrusting that to some of his lieutenants while he was doing other things, and Aaron didn't. But like you said, now, it was a heart-to-heart. They could have had that in the offseason. Mike McCarthy's been gone for 3 years now.
Yep.
You could have had other opportunities. You could have picked up the phone, or y'all could have met somewhere and had a heart-to-heart. The moments, hours before the game is not the time to have a heart-to-heart. Okay, I get it. The love connection, the confessions, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That is not the time. I don't believe.
No.
Now, hey, some people are like, well, hey, there's never a wrong time. But the man's been gone for 3 years.
Okay.
At some point in time in that 3-year window, y'all could have found a way to talk, meet, or do whatever you need to do.
This has gone completely to McCarthy's head.
If you're going to go for it on fourth down, why the hell you don't run the ball on third down? You only need 3 yards.
Okay.
So why not now all of a sudden?
How are you gashing them? You were gashing them with the run more than the pass, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it's 4th and 3. And I'm thinking, well, it's obviously a field goal try now from 53 yards because Brett Maher can nail it. They said the wind had slightly switched. I didn't sense on TV, sometimes it's hard to get it off TV, that it was high wind.
Right.
But they said it was fairly significant wind in face, okay? So McCarthy is taking that into consideration, but he said we were right on the line for whether he could make it or not.
Right.
But he had already decided, I'm going for it because I'm Vince Lombardi. I'm coming back. I got friends and family. I want to go for broke here, right? Yeah. Well, and you got broke.
Well, run the ball.
Okay. All right. But it's 4th and 3.
But no. Remember that he said in his press conference, he was thinking about going for it on fourth down, on second down.
You easily could have gone for, you could run the ball to Tony Pollard.
Yes.
Okay, because Tony Pollard was gashing them. Okay, here's my issue with the 4th down call. If you have a clever play that you've been sitting on the whole game, that you practiced repeatedly through the week, and you said, this is our ace in the hole play. This is the one we're going to need for a 2-point conversion or maybe a 4th and 3. I'm okay with it. Show me something that I haven't seen. Show me that you've got something up your sleeve where I say, wow, that was good. It was nothing.
But normally what happens, Skip, in that situation, if I'm going for it on fourth down, and that's already in the back of your mind, so I'm sure he's relayed that to the OC. We're going for it on fourth down. So now I'm going to run my best play on third down. I'm not saying, why the hell would I save it?
Okay. I don't know. Are you going to run some kind of a zone read to pitch it to Tony Pollard?
It seemed
you can do
to
a lot
me
of things.
that they ran an option route to CD. And Jair Alexander, he didn't back up. He stayed, and he drove the ball. Okay, people say he got there a little early, and they didn't call it. But I'm just saying, I just believe, Skip, whatever, if you got 2 plays, you're going for it on fourth down, you're going to run your best play on third down because I want to go ahead and get that out the way. I don't want to trust it that on fourth down that we can pick it up if I can go ahead and get it out the way on third down. So that was their best play. I mean, I don't know of a play on fourth down, hey, let's throw this ball to Tony Pollard. That's the play? That's the play you can...
That was just a disaster. That was like desperate measures. So, bottom line, my team in its history with a 14 or more point lead going into the fourth quarter is 195-0, but now it's 195-1.
That's my... Skip, your defense got to make that stand. They keep talking about, you remember how everybody was talking about it? We're going to be historic. I mean, historic. They got Lawrence Taylor on the defense. They just take the ball away. 14-point lead. You did something no other Cowboy team, and the Cowboys been the Cowboys since 1960. So here we are. That's 62 years, right? That's a long time. So in 62 seasons, the Cowboys have never, ever blown a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter until yesterday. That's on your defense.
Is it possible we could start using Cooper Rush as a closer, like a Mariano Rivera? Like in the fourth quarter, let's put Cooper Rush in because I know he's going to get the game home. That's what he did.
You might have been so far behind, it wasn't a matter.
Well, maybe Dak gets 3 quarters worth, and then we're up 28-14, and Cooper closes, right, with a rush.
Well, you better stop stopping the run. You gave up 200 yards back-to-back game. What you going to do about that?
We've been doing that all year.
Okay, when you're going to be going home early, you keep doing that.
The Packers likely saved their season here. They're still in the postseason hunt now, guys. 9th in the NFC. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.